It's pretty exciting, really, thinking about this particular project today when I was coming down. It's mind-boggling when you begin to think about all the things that have happened today and all the projects that have been talked about. What I want to talk to you about today is public libraries, something that most people probably take for granted. And just to remind you that they're key access points in the community, that they're key access points for information, they're key access points for resources, for electronic access, and probably most important of all is they're a key searching support tool that is becoming more and more vital as the information begins to explode on us. Quickly, this is just a highlight of establishing sort of a presence in Alberta with 310 sites across the province, serving communities from 111 to over 1 million. That 80% of libraries out there serve communities under 10,000, so we have a real rural presence. Over 17.5 million visits per year to public libraries. And interestingly, all of the indicators that we use are on the rise. And which is very interesting when you think about some of the things that have been happening south of the border with libraries closing. Libraries are one of those organizations that has maintained its market share for 25 years. When you begin to think about that from a Fortune 500 company perspective, the only ones that have done that in Fortune 500 are ones that have spent millions and millions and millions of dollars. But public libraries have done it. Libraries are sustainable. They may whine a lot about not having money, but we do have a sustainable base. And there's $100 million a year that's invested in public libraries. And in Alberta, we've been on the ground for over 100 years. Just to give you an idea, because most people, when they think about libraries, the brand is clearly books. But libraries have a whole lot more to offer, and they have a very wide range of library staff skills. And it's something that we're learning how to use through these networks, that we can have highly skilled, specialized librarians located in various parts of the province, and we can draw on their skills in small rural communities. To give you a sense of the impact of programming for libraries, 55,000 programs a year and over 1 million Albertans participating. And everything from preschool literacy to being a service point for distance learning, specialized databases for every aspect of life, business, health, social services, agriculture. Very specialized databases that are available through public libraries. Something they're just moving into is a lot of foreign language training as a result of responding to the needs of new Canadians and immigrants coming into our communities. Specialized services as well for Aboriginals, the disabled, the seniors. And when you go to a public library, really, you're accessing services from cradle to grave. Just to give you a very quick overview of the partnerships, 55,000 programs, I said. Many of those programs are not run by the libraries themselves, but they're done in partnership with many, many community organizations across Alberta. And that helps to, I think, promote this whole concept of community capacity. Recently, during a public library review, one of the weak points that was pointed out to us was that we do not have a strong partnership ability, I'll call it, with our colleagues in other government departments. So we are now embarking on a major initiative to develop those partnerships with other government departments so that we can provide a much more coordinated face at the community level. This particular slide gives you an overview of a shift in terms of if you were moving from 1970 to 2020, pre-1970 we could have gone all the way back to tablets. libraries would have been collecting information on clay tablets. And all you're doing is showing the transition. The goal is staying the same, but some of the technologies are changing. Books are a technology. But you can see that as you move over to my right, there is a huge impact of electronics, and things are being turned into a digital format. We're moving into the transporters and replicators, and I'm sure we'll all be miniaturized by 2020. The point is, for public libraries, is that they have been able to adapt and adjust their services to meet those particular situations. The point here on this one, our interest in the broadband is that it allows us to expand the delivery of services. Earlier, there was at least 3 or 4 speakers referenced libraries in some way. One of the things that, from a partnership point of view, we could quickly resolve was the cattle registry. The farmers are lining up at libraries because they don't have broadband access, so they can register their cattle. So they go in, they can do it very quickly and efficiently. But we could partner with agriculture to make that even more efficient. Over the last few years, there have been lineups of farmers trying to register their guns online. That wasn't a very popular exercise, but we did it anyway. The broadband has caught our imagination. We have a project in southern Alberta called RISE, which will connect, we'll have 89 communities, municipalities, providing video service capability, and that will be rolled out over the next 3 years and will impact 450,000 Albertans. We've already partnered over the last few years with Three Hills. We've got exceptional projects in communities like Hinton, where people have played a real pioneer role. The kinds of things that we're going to see over the next few years where the broadband is going to play a key role will be in that whole area of customizing content, having face-to-face services. Earlier, one of the speakers talked about, Jay talked about what the government could do in terms of providing face-to-face service. Public libraries can be an access point for face-to-face consultation between a farmer and his ag rep. All kinds of face-to-face services can be provided. We've referenced over the morning the whole idea of training of staff. Obviously, for library people, that is a great way for them to keep their staff up to speed, but also for other users to come in and use that facility to help train their staff. Lifelong learning for Albertans, huge content available. Once we discover and work out how we access all of it, we can bring the curriculum from the colleges and universities right to local communities in their public library. Certainly, libraries are a key access point for communities. And what we're trying to develop for Albertans is seamless access to all of the resources that are housed within colleges, universities, public libraries, government libraries, and special libraries, and bring those resources to Albertans anywhere they are, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And over the next year and a half or so, that, I'm sure, will become a reality. All of us have talked about these services, and really we've talked about them, I won't use the negative word of in silos, we've talked about them as being in parallel tracks. And one of the challenges that we have to have is how do we begin to collaborate better so that we are not wasting resources in developing these streams, that there's all kinds of opportunities for us here to collaborate, and public libraries are clearly one of those places that can take place. Just having that public library card, you can't imagine what you can do with this little piece of plastic, where you can go in the world and what you can do, the things that you can invent and the things that you can prevent. So it's, as you move forward, I would suggest that in the broadband strategy for this province that you clearly look at public libraries as being a key to part of that community capacity building. Thanks, Jan.
Thanks, Punch. Uh,